Man, oh man, it just keeps going. More and more red days. I almost thought I was like, do I even need to make a video today? It's gonna be another red day. Everybody knows what the story is gonna be. We're gonna be talking about, obviously what happens when we see the red days like this. Why you should not be afraid. We'll talk about kind of the overall space in the market. Okay, have we seen a top? Is this the beginning of the bear market? Are we, how do you stay safe? How do you make sure you're not getting wrecked in crypto? All that type of stuff. So we're going to go on and talk about all that type of stuff today. Welcome back and thanks again for joining the channel to watch. We'll start out today talking about crypto bubbles. As we can see, a pretty rough day in the market, kind of the average between, I would say, 4 to 6%, just kind of based on what we're seeing. We do have a couple here that are a little bit larger, Radium kind of being the biggest of all of them. Sonic is kind of the only one of note here that is up. Obviously, Say is up a little bit, and then Pi, I think the TGE was just recently on that one. So that one did actually have a pretty decent launch for kind of where we're sitting in the crypto market. So that is pretty impressive. But overall, as we can see, the market down pretty bad. Still overall, on the week we are at red. We do see a couple greens here and there. We saw TIA make a little bit of a run. Tau obviously did quite well. IP is one that's done very, very well. And then Sonic, obviously, we made a video later in the week last week talking about Sonic and why that could be seeing some more pretty impressive runs to the upside. So if you are interested, go ahead and check that out. But overall, the market taking some knocks, from this recent Bybit hack. As we can actually see here on X, Ben has basically made an update that basically Bybit has already fully closed the ETH gap. The new audited proof of reserves report will be published very soon to show that Bybit is again back to 100% one-to-one on client assets through Merkle Tree. Stay tuned. So that obviously is a very, very good thing to see. We can see that Bybit has received a bunch through, loans, whale deposits, ETH purchases, all that type of stuff. But Bybit looking to staying solvent here, which is obviously a very, very good thing to see. That's something that I would say is, that could have been a bit of a struggle if we saw Bybit collapse. But of course, obviously, this is a very, very good thing. We saw the crypto industry kind of banding together. And I would say that this is proof of kind of the strength, the fundamental strength that we are seeing within the crypto market. Because if the crypto market was in a place where we were in maybe in late 2021, even 2022, there would have been so much leverage in the market. It could have been, maybe not possible for some of these other exchanges to kind of help, kind of bail out Bybit in this way. Because of course, obviously, a lot of these exchanges were stepping in to help out, and it was maybe not the most prudent thing from a competitive standpoint. Obviously, they could have potentially let a competitor go under, which in the long term probably would have been a good thing for them. But this is a really, really nice thing to see, that the crypto industry banding together. And this is great. I mean, this is kind of decentralization and self-governance, a lot of that type of stuff at its best, right? I mean, standing up for people when they just happen to have kind of some bad luck happen to them, right? And so that, I think that's really, really nice to see. I'm very, very pleased with that. And also, like I said, it does show and it does speak to kind of the stronger kind of fundamentals that we are seeing from within the market right now. Because like I said, this wouldn't have been possible if there's a whole bunch of wound up leverage in the market, because at that point, all bets are off and everybody's going to be trying to keep their own exchange afloat. So I think that's really good to see. If we do look at the market, we can see, or kind of like the market overview chart, we can see liquidity still very, very low on liquidations. If we go there, we're about, 1.5 billion. If we look at 7-day, we're closer up to about 5 to 6 billion. So a little bit more, but still not a whole lot of liquidity in the market. If we do go look at the 30-day, we can't see it on this one, but on the other report that they have, we could see it. Still very, very, very huge walls to the upside. So I am interested to kind of see how that continues to happen. Also, interest in volume, we can see kind of staying pretty stable for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin has held up very, very well given a lot of the bleeding that we've seen in the market. Most of that has been coming through alts. If we do look, we can see kind of a market-wide shift moving back down. We can see actually the market average still sitting in neutral, only just barely. We're very, very close to stepping back into the weak territory for alts, which I think is probably all but insured at this point. The market right now is looking a little bit bearish again. Not that I think that that's a big deal, but it is definitely looking that way. We can also see here on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index sitting at about halfway here on neutral again. If we look at the past week, it's been in neutral 100% of the time. And if we look at the past month, 73% of the time being back in neutral. So we have definitely seen the market cool off a fairly substantial amount over the past month or so. And so, right now we're just kind of waiting and seeing. It's unclear the direction on the market. So if we look at the Bitcoin chart, we can see exactly this. So let's go take a look. Actually, we'll head over to demo trading. We can see kind of where our positions are at. The market has pulled back a little bit. So some of these down a little bit. We can see ICP and virtuals still up. Our portfolio overall still up for right now. We haven't really seen the market move too much, as we were talking about the other day. We can see, obviously we are seeing these Bollinger Bands squeeze, and when we see the Bollinger Band squeeze, this usually means that there is going to be a level of volatility. Now, of course, we do not know where this volatility is going to take us. It could be to the downside. It could be to the upside. We have no way of knowing for sure. It's just when the Bollinger Band squeeze, this is usually an indicator that we know that something is going to happen. If we look back here in November, we can see it kind of squoze a little bit. See a little bit of something going on here as well. Even here a little bit, but this is probably the most recent one. Is back early in February of 2024. We started to see the Bollinger Band squeeze a decent bit, and then we saw that run to the upside. So, we've seen it further here back as well. Same type of thing. And if we look at some others like Ethereum, Solana, things like that, we can see more and more examples of this, but that's typically what happens. So again, in the past, this has been, I would say in the recent past, this has been an indicator of a move to the upside. But again, that's because we've been in a bull market, or at least running into a bull market. Now that there is the possibility, again, I don't really believe this, but now that there is the possibility that we could be in a bear market, potentially, this means we could see a breakout to the downside. If we did see a breakout to the downside and we actually broke through this level of support here, so that would be the bottom side of about 91,500, I would say there would be a lot of legitimacy to the claims of the claims like the bull market is over. I think if we saw a break through this, that would look not particularly great. If we looked from just a macro perspective on Bitcoin, theoretically we could even make it all the way back down before we actually broke through some of these previous highs. So, we do have some room to see something like that happen, but I think a move like this would be very, very, very damaging for the alts in the altcoin market. So we'll just kind of have to see how that goes overall. I think right now people are mainly focused on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has kind of been the one that's been seeing a lot of the adoption. It's been seeing a lot of the bullish news. It's been seeing a lot of the people who are really, really focused on Bitcoin. And this is something, if you've heard me talking in my live streams or Tyler's live streams or anything like that, as I've kind of mentioned this a lot, where I do feel like there's a level of this game of anybody who's in crypto right now. There's kind of this thing where people want to trade in and out of these altcoins. But the goal of that is to earn more Bitcoin relative to what they had before. And so when everybody's kind of playing that game, usually we don't really see any alts having much staying power. And of course, Bitcoin is going to hold a lot higher than what some of these others might. And so that's, I think, kind of what we're seeing here so far, is that there's a lot of people just trying to trade in and out of alts to get to Bitcoin. And that's not a bad thing. It's just something that we need to kind of make sure that we're calculating and that we're aware of when we're kind of trying to get a read on the market and what's going on with the market. So anyway, if you are interested in kind of trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, any of that type of stuff, you can see I do have 5 positions open here. A couple of them doing pretty well. The other 3 actually were up decent, but they've kind of fallen down a little bit with the market. Nothing I'm too concerned about, because these are all very low leverage, 3, 4, and 5x leverage plays. So, nothing too crazy overall. These can all withstand some fairly substantial hits before we start to see these numbers look too scary. So anyway, just something to think about there. If you are interested, like I said, I've got the link to BTCC in the description below, as well as links to WEEX and Phemex as well, if you are interested in any of those, with a 10% bonus on first time deposits, as well as extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user, and no VPN or KYC necessary. So if you are interested, just feel free to check the link in the description below. Go ahead, get signed up, all that type of good stuff. So anyway, moving on though, I did want to talk just a little bit more about this whole Bybit situation, the market that we're in, how do you stay safe, a lot of that type of stuff. One thing that we've talked about several times on the channel is what we're seeing right now. And actually, let's go back to the chart just so we can kind of use this for reference here. But as we've talked about, we've talked about this on Solana, on Ethereum, on Bitcoin specifically, because I think, again, a lot of the market is moving based on Bitcoin. I'm not worried about anything that happens unless it is outside of here, below here, or above here. So if it's not above or below one of these two, I'm not particularly interested. And of course, we have not seen anything kind of break out of those ever since we kind of came into this channel in the middle of November. So obviously we've seen a couple wicks here and there kind of to the upside and the downside, but all of them kind of coming back in fairly quickly, again, within a day. So this is something where I'm just not particularly interested in. And until we see a move one direction or the other, this is all just going to be a manipulated zone. We're going to be seeing, you know, market makers trying to shake people out of all leverage positions possible because there's no real structure or direction on the market quite yet. Now, obviously this will change with time, but at least for right now, you know, there's no real way to know where the market's going to go, right? I mean, if we see a break out to the downside, it's fairly easy to say we're probably at least going to see about 85, possibly even kind of the 73 and a half range. And if we break out to the upside, then we're going to be looking at price discovery and who knows where, right? I mean, maybe we see 120, maybe we see 150, maybe we see 200, maybe we see 400, who knows? I mean, it's almost impossible to say. But until we've broken out of this zone, it's almost impossible to say where it's going to go for certain. So for me, I'm not really playing any high leverage trades right now. If I am, I'm expecting to lose, and it's more just because I'm bored and I want to do something, and I'm taking very, very tiny trades. And again, you know, it's not part of investing. I wouldn't lump that into like my investment bags at that point in time. This is going to be me just kind of doing something because I'm interested and kind of want to, not any sort of like, this is a like big brain investing play, right? So hopefully the difference there kind of makes sense and you guys understand that. But overall, hopefully you did find the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe. It really, really does help me out, especially getting pushed further on into the YouTube algorithm, all that type of stuff. Also, if you have any comments, thoughts, questions, whatever, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So if you have anything you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do so. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.